Hello, everyone. Welcome back to episode 19 of the Cowboys TV podcast. I am your host, as always, Nick from Australia, and my co-host is here as well, Callan. How are you, Callan?
Yeah, good, Nick. Bit tired today, but looking forward to this weekend. Sitting home and watching the boys on TV, a bit of a novelty.
Well, we were both there last week, and we had to suffer through that, which was not easy to do. But a week's a long time in rugby league. Obviously, I'll be at the game on Sunday on the Gold Coast. Obviously, you'll be watching it from your beautiful lounge room with your feet up and hopefully not stressing too much. But yes, we'll get into that result from the weekend just in a little bit. Hello to the chat, as always. Hello to the chat. Jason Reader is in the chat. Weedy_1. Hello, Heather. Hello, Cooper, Josh, CJ. Hello, everyone that's watching. River, HB Aviation, Lismore Garbo, Luke Melbourne Storm fan, everyone that's watching. Apologies for the slight delay as well, guys. We just got caught up with a couple of things there behind the scenes. But all good. We had some problems with the green room, but that's all taken care of.
And we just had to wipe up all my tears.
Yeah. Yeah, we had to wipe up the tears. We're talking about how Channel 9 and Fox Sports did the dirty on me with that photo they got of me towards the end of the game, which was quite sad. But that's the joys. The joys of rugby league. They will film you when you're going berserk, and they'll film you when you're sad. So, yeah. But as always, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Check out Callan's channel on YouTube as well. Check out my channel if you haven't subscribed yet. Make sure you just like and subscribe to everyone. It's really appreciated. All right, we might as well talk about that debacle from Sunday. Not that we want to talk about it, but we'll briefly touch on the game. Goodness me, this was a tough game to watch, Callan. We didn't start well. We couldn't catch a ball. We kept dropping it on every single set. Everything about this game was just everything that could go wrong did go wrong, and it was a tough game to watch, but. What'd you make of it anyway?
Yeah, well, like on not so much a positive, but a reasoning. You know, like if we were full strength, 100%, everyone on deck, and we still lose like that, it'd be more disappointing. Yeah. I mentioned that the Origin players wouldn't have been able to save how badly we played the week before. And we didn't have them all on deck, but yeah, I put a comment on the fan page, the Cowboy fan page, the Stampede page, that I was quite happy for Clifford to be back, and then he said, one player, it doesn't really matter if it's Dearden, Jackson, or Clifford, you can't thank them or blame them for a win or a loss. And I find that ridiculous, because blokes like Thurston and, Langer, Wally Lewis, you were a better player just knowing that these guys are beside you. And I think, like, I don't know if Clifford's going to, but I just think the disruptions in our picking of our team, we're not just having a bag at Payton, we've had Origin, we've had injuries. So it's difficult to prepare week to week when you have these many disruptions unplanned, and then you go and plan further disruptions. So I find it really difficult for our boys to get cohesion together with each other.
Yeah. No, you make a good point. And I think State of Origin, and I hate using it. I hate using it as an excuse because the last couple of years we've handled Origin so well, where we've won during the Origin periods against teams that are higher than us on the ladder, and we've done well. But this year it's completely hurt us a lot. Like I'm a little bit concerned about how does Robson and Cotter make that much of a difference? Because obviously Robson's a great hooker and Cotter's a great lock. But defensively, are they that much of a difference? Because on the weekend, we were getting torn apart through the middle. And normally when they're there, our defense usually holds its own and it's a lot better. But far out, on the weekend, it got absolutely torn to shreds. So I don't know if it's just those two with their influence because of who they are, but even the State of Origin players on the weekend, they probably shouldn't have played. Like Tom Dearden, he didn't have a great game on Sunday, and he literally said in the press conference that he played terrible. And I've never seen Dearden that honest about himself after a game. So he took it really personally, and other guys didn't look 100% from the other day as well. So maybe they shouldn't have backed up. I don't know. But it was just a really difficult game. It really was. And I think the Origin period in previous years, we've definitely handled it well. But this year, we have not handled it well at all.
Well, I think the biggest difference with previous years with us doing well, and, I might have given, I wouldn't say I've gone out and bagged the hell out of Chad Townsend. Like he's won a grand final, he's done a lot in the game. He's got a lot of experience, a lot of man management skills, being able to run that side. And I think previous years, we've had Clifford come in and he's always seemed to done well, but we've just had to replace the men missing with a pretty good team. This year, we haven't been a very good team. I think those Origin outs plus the injury suspensions. So it's not just, these couple of guys. But the thing about a key player is Robson, Cotter. Like I'd like to be able to, have them mic'd up every game and see how much talking and who sort of says what and when. And, these are the big differences. Like, one man can't make that big of a difference. Well, like I said, I think we've had more disruptions than just those two guys. But I think it just sort of speaks volumes like how important these guys are, especially when we're all full strength.
Well, you're right. And on your point before about we've had players in the past who have made a difference. Like, for example, back in, from 2005 to 2017, if the Cowboys had a game or two where we didn't have Jonathan Thurston, we were a completely different team. We were not the same team. But when JT would come in and play, would be every chance of winning. But when Thurston was out, our win record was diabolical. So I don't know if it's at that level. I don't think it is now. But on the weekend, it was just a horrible performance. It really was. I spoke to a couple of the players after the game, and the one thing that I will give credit for is there were a few players after the game that came over, and all they said was, "Are you okay?" Because they know we had to sit through that game, and it was a tough game to get through because of the scoreline and how everything unfolded. The players felt terrible. And it's good that they were taking accountability and they went over to the fans and said, look, he's okay. That was, it was a tough game to watch. So, massive shout out to a couple of players that came over and stuff. That was really, really good to see. But, we're talking about, must-win games and stuff the last few weeks. But holy shit. Like, if you look at the ladder, how crazy it is from 5th to 16th. I think it's separated by 2 games. Like, it's actually insane. This Titans game on Sunday just became from a must-win to it's bigger than must-win now. Like, it's season-defining sort of stuff, in my opinion. But, yeah.
Yeah, well, 100%. When I said must-win last week, it just makes that job a lot easier where you're sitting in the ladder.
Yeah.
It's like when the reserve comes on too late and you're way behind and everyone's expecting this, one of them X factors that have got a bit of a roving role, it's too late and it's panic stations. And I think we're starting to get into panic stations where we're not playing our best footy.
I think if we lose this weekend, then panic mode for sure. You could even argue panic mode now because Todd's he's made the call. Clifford in the halves, Purdy back to center. We'll get to that very soon. But if it isn't panic station this weekend, then holy crap, next week's going to become even more of a panic mode. But this is season defining this weekend. Now, before we move on from this Roosters game, look, it's hard to say who our best player was. There wasn't a whole lot of them, but I reckon our best players the other day were probably Murray Talangi, Sam McIntyre, I thought was good. Edwards was good. I thought Braden Burns did okay. Griffin name. I guess Cohen Hess wasn't too bad, but everyone else was off the mark. Who do you reckon was our best on Sunday?
Yeah, well, it's pretty hard to. I've tried to wipe the game from my memory. Muzza.
He was good, Muzz. Probably our best.
I don't think we were that bad, but we were bad enough for that result.
Yeah,
I don't think we were all playing 2 out of 10s, but we need to be playing 7, 8, 9 out of 10. Every week really. And then when you get into around the 5 or 6 out of 10 each player, like you're saying, there wasn't much good. It just makes that job so much harder.
Yeah, and a couple of the tries the Roosters scored were just, they're pretty lucky. Especially the one where they kicked it downfield and then the ball bounced in front of Drinkwater and then they ended up getting the ball and scoring. Like that was, sure, Drinkwater probably wasn't in the best position, but that was a very unlucky try to let in. And there were a few other ones where I'm just shaking my head going, what the hell? But yeah, let's just move on from that debacle of a game and let's move on to the team list news. So, we've made some big changes this week against the Titans. And I'm going to be honest, Callan, this is probably the best team we've named since Magic Round. Magic Round, we named a good side there. I think we had Purdue in the centers still. Clifford did one of the halves. This is probably the best team since Magic Round. And so the changes are, so obviously we got a few players back. So the ins, so obviously Jackson Purdue's gone back to left center. Zach Laybutt goes from the left side to the right. So Laybutt and Derby, that Papua New Guinea combination, that is now going to be a thing together. Clifford and Dearden are in the halves, which is good. Robson returns. Cotter returns. They will both start. McIntyre will go in the front row. Bateman, Nanai in the back row. And the bench is Edwards, McKaylee, Neem, Hess. I think this is the best team we've named in a long time. What do you reckon?
Yeah, 100%. Some good ins, and you know, I've been whinging about the change with, and like I was saying to the boys at work, you know, one guy just trying to bait me, you know, goes, Clifford, who's Clifford?
Oh no.
And he goes, I thought you were going to react. I said, I had a massive explosion inside my head. And then I knew you were just joking, just trying to have a go at me. But I just think we miss Purdue at centre. Yeah. You know, like everyone's probably think I whinge more about Clifford not being in the side. But I don't think we've had like that attacking weapon like Purdue can do. You know, he's got that X factor. Give him a bit of room to move and take that pressure off him. Just go out there and play your natural game where you just take him on. And he seems to, you know, do a bit of magic.
I think it's great that Jackson's gone back to the centres. Like, here we go. Got a couple of Roosters fans in the live chat trolling. Congratulations, idiot. See you, mate. See you, bye. Idiots. You win one game and you act like you're the premiers. It's insane to me. But Jackson Purdue back in the centres. Look, he's got, like you said, more room to move. And to be honest with you, I think we'll lose in 2 or 3 tries a game with him not being at centre. Like, sure, he's going to be a great half one day, but now's not the right time to have him playing in the halves. Let him stay at centre and just see what he can do. They were talking about him for Origin before game 1. That's how good he was going at centre. They were talking about Origin for Jackson, which I'm like, this has got to be too soon. But leave him in the centres. That's where he was playing great footy. Tom Dearden, Nanai, Talangi, they're all with him on that same edge. There's a lot of points there. And now that they've gone back to what was working, I think it's a good thing. And I'm excited for it this weekend. And obviously Clifford back in the halves. Like, I think we spoke about it for about a month or so now. It needed to happen. It just needed to happen. Combination's great. The winning percentage is good. Just leave them together for the rest of the year, for crying out loud. I know next week Dearden will be out for Origin when we play the Storm. So it could be Purdue Clifford next week, or it could be Clifford Duffy. Who really knows? But it's the best decision. It really is, Callum.
Well, I did say I would have had Purdue over Duffy. But I think with especially if he comes out and he's back to what he's been doing, I'd probably say let's give Duffy another go. Duffy and Clifford, they've played a lot of footy together.
Yeah, boy.
Duffy had some good glimpses of potential there. You know, he was really taking them on the week before.
Yeah.
So I think hopefully how far away Tamalalo? He's
he'll still be 3 weeks.
Yeah, right.
Be a couple of weeks. I'm a bit worried about the Tamalolo stuff because he's getting older and he's got a few injuries in him, so bit of a worry. But we got everyone back this week just about. McLean, McIntyre, Bateman, Nanai, Cotter, Edwards, McKaylee, Neem, Hess. We got plenty of forwards that can do the job. So I just pray we win this weekend. Like, this is seriously must win. Must win. Absolutely must win. Listen, more Garbo on the live chat. Was my comment about Jackson Purdue deleted? I certainly didn't delete it. Could be YouTube doing their thing about it. I'm not exactly sure, bro. But I only remove trolls when they come in. So
what was the
don't
comment?
know, man. I'm trying to remember what it was. What was your comment about Purdue? Unless it was hidden, then I can't see it. Not sure. It was more Garbo. I can't even see it, to be honest. Anyway, maybe just type it again. I'll have a look for it. But look, the Titans, like obviously, they're a very hot and cold side. We saw what they did against Manly a few weeks ago on the Friday night. And then on Sunday, they went up against a Parramatta team that didn't have any halves, and they got beaten 36-20. So the Titans, for me, like it's definitely a danger game because it's on the Gold Coast, Sunday afternoon. They have won their last two on the Gold Coast against us, but I don't know. Like, I think seriously, Callan, if we're fair income about our season, we have to win on Sunday.
Yeah, well, I feel the same as you. Those games that I seem to worry a lot about are those games where everyone writes off the opposition and, it's only, whoever it is, you've got this. It doesn't matter whether they're on the bottom of the ladder or not. Any team on their day, like you said, they're hot and cold, which also gives us that, what are we playing up against? Are we playing against the cold side? Or are we playing against the hot side?
Yeah. No, that's right. Lismore Garbo said, I thought Purdy deserved one more game at 5'8" against a struggling team like the Titans that is missing Jaden Campbell. I completely understand it because obviously against the Roosters, I mean, Purdue did not have a great game, and I think he threw the ball over the sideline a couple of times. So I totally get it, Lismore Garbo, but I think it's at the stage of the season now. We need to go back to what's working. And to be fair, the Roosters, I still don't really rate them that highly. I thought maybe he'd cover up against them, but I think it's time to go back to the Clifford thing. I think it just had to happen, to be honest. It had to happen.
Well, I haven't been reading much of what everyone writes on Instagram fan pages. I'm just fucking over it, to be honest. Clifford lost one game, and I'd never heard that people going, but he's only lost one game. Why is he getting dropped? It was a draw and a loss. But like when Duffy lost his, it's only two. Purdue's lost how many? He needs another chance. It's like, how come Clifford doesn't get the same opportunities? It just really annoys me.
You're right. Well, we won, 4 in a row with Dearden and Clifford. We had that very tight loss at Magic Round, which we probably could have won. And we had that draw, and then it was dropped. So you're right. It was definitely a bizarre move. And since that, we've won one game out of 5? Loss, win, loss. Yeah, so 1 and 5, but
like, I understand where you're coming from too, brother, but like, it's like one guy does one wrong thing, he goes to jail, and then you get the guy that's punching the bus driver and gets let out. Like the law seems strange, like in the football law. Some guys just get every chance, some guys get none.
Yeah.
So to me, if you're picking your grand final team, is it Purdue and Dearden in your halves? You know, like if we had to pick a Queensland team out of our 20-man squad, like who would your halves be? You know, they're the questions I sort of ask myself when who do I want where?
Yeah. No, fair enough. That's a fair point. I just think for the rest of the year, obviously next week we'll have Dearden out due to Origin, but when Origin's over, not in the way of team selection, I think for the remainder of the year, it's Clifford and Dearden, and if they want to put Purdue in the halves next season and just go with Dearden and Purdue next year from round one onwards, sure, why not? Because you'll get 3 months of preseason together to work that combination. But until then, I think you just got to stick solid with Clifford and Tom Dearden. It's a combination that's been working since round 24 last year, all the way through to the finals. So I'd be sticking with that. That's what I'd be doing. Any other thing you want to mention about the team, Callan? I think it's a very strong team this weekend, and I'm a big fan of it, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm excited myself. What I really, obviously Jackson back to his electrifying. Every time he touched the ball, he looked dangerous. But what I'm really hopeful to see Zach Labert hit some form. To him to start, he's back in his preferred position.
Yes.
So I'm just hoping that he gets some good ball and, gets his confidence back.
Yeah. Well, we spoke about it last week about if he should be dropped or not. And he's had 4 or 5 games where he's been back and he's struggled. But the one thing that I forgot to mention was before Zach's injury, he was a right side player, right? He played right center. He didn't play on the left. And I think Zach playing on the left maybe had an effect on him. Maybe he's not comfortable with the left-hand side of the field. But when Zach was on the right edge as a center, he was getting more ball. He was playing a lot better, more confident. This weekend, he's going to be getting a lot of ball from Clifford, Drinkwater, Johnny Bateman as well. So there's no real excuse for him to not have a good game on Sunday. Hopefully he gets plenty of ball and goes well. So I'm looking for a good game from Zach Labert on Sunday, and fingers crossed that he has a big one.
Yeah, I'm excited to see that combination too. Clifford, Bateman, Labert, Derby, and Drinky chiming in there.
I was just going to ask you about Robert Derby. You think he's lucky to keep his spot? Because I reckon there's a few guys breathing down his neck at the moment. Braden Burns, he's breathing right down his neck. Jackson Paulo, the 2 games he played were pretty good. I think Robert's been a bit off the last few games, and I think Burns and Paulo are really putting pressure on Derby.
Yeah, he's probably a little bit lucky, but that same mentality with Purdue.
Yeah.
I would, being a winger, wingers can make a big difference.
Yes.
Like look at Kyle Felt. But Kyle Felt doesn't go running in the middle of the field, get the ball, and then runs 80 meters. It's a lot of what people don't see. It's that lead up play. Like they're normally working towards something. This play, it might be on the 4th tackle that we've created whatever we wanted to create. We've opened some space up, and then those wingers that are doing good are normally playing off the back of that. Like you don't normally see a winger killing it. Say there was 3 tries scored where that winger scored a hat trick and the other team scored 50. You don't often see that.
No, well, that's true as well. You really don't. I've got to say as well, Braden Burns, Forney, again, last week against the Roosters, probably one of our better players. Definitely unlucky not to be in the team this week, but someone's going to make way. I think Robert Derby's position is only there because Zach's gone to the right side of the field. I think Todd was like, again, I'm only guessing. I reckon Todd was like, you know what? We haven't had a game in a while where we've had Zach at right center and Robert at right wing. They play together at international level for Papua New Guinea. They know each other pretty well. So maybe we give those two an opportunity to get an opportunity together as a combination and see how they go. And I think that's why they're doing it. If Rob doesn't play well, then maybe Braden Burns comes in. But in saying that, it's going to be interesting to see how it all goes because Viliami Vailea, he's going to be out for a while. I think he's having foot surgery. So he's a bit of a loss. He'll be out for a while. But, yeah, a lot of pressure on Rob. He has to try and keep his spot, I reckon.
Yeah, well, I think Labert and Derby have probably both, like you say, Braden Burns, Paulo. Yeah. If the pair of them have a very, very bad game, well, you'd be tempted to drop the both of them.
Yeah, you almost would. You almost would, no doubt about it. But overall,
I'm confident that this is going to be Labert's game to shine.
Hope you're right. This is obviously a big game on the weekend, so fingers crossed we can get it done. In the live chat, Michael's going on about Cherry Evans. Michael, you've said the same thing 3 times. This is the Cowboys TV podcast. We don't really give a damn about Manly, bro. To be honest, bro, we don't give a shit about Cherry Evans and what he's doing, bro. So pretty irrelevant, those comments, bro. Could care less about Manly and Cherry Evans. All right, moving on. Now, obviously, we heard about this as we were just finishing the podcast last week, Callan. The Cowboys partner up with Hull KR from the Super League, and if you follow the Super League, Hull KR, they are in the top 4 at the moment. I think they're in first. Where are they? I think they're coming first. They're having a great year in the Super League. They're going really well. The partnership, Callan, obviously it's about, pathways and coming together and building a bit of a business relationship. What's your take on this whole situation now that it's been a week since we last heard about it?
Has it been confirmed yet, or is it?
Yeah, it's all confirmed. Yeah. The Cowboys put a post out about it on the website. I can
I'm excited about it. Like, I don't know exactly what advantages we're going to get out of it, but if there's certain players that we think would be better over there, and some of their players that they think would be better here, like you were saying last week, coaching, business. All those different strategies that make up a football club, I think could only, iron sharpens iron, so like we're not a useless club. We're not playing that good at the moment. And, having that someone to, if you're doing something good, we can learn from them. They can learn from us, and we can learn from each other's mistakes. So I think it's like a really, groundbreaking move.
Yeah. So basically, what it is, it's an exciting partnership with the UK Super League club Hull KR to develop on and off-field pathways and working groups. They've been in talk for the last 6 months about building a bit of a partnership to benefit both teams on and off the field. The two CEOs will meet up in Vegas, so they'll have a bit of a more of an understanding on what's going to happen. Supporters from both teams are encouraged to back their new friends from the other side of the world. Funny enough. Now, I've got to say something pretty funny about this. I did watch the Super League, and I was supporting a team called the Salford Red Devils. And the Salford Red Devils are they're going downhill. They're basically, it could end up, Salford could end up being in the championship competition, which is the reserve grade comp, or they could end up in League One, which is another comp, which is like 2 levels below Super League. And Salford's gone broke. They're losing money. They've lost all their good players. They've had to sell them all. And the club is broke as. They're literally one of the shittest teams now. So I'm about to jump off Salford because they could actually end up being extinct. So they might not be a club anymore the way it's going. And Hull KR have got Peter Hiku, who used to play with us. Kalepi Tanganoa, I think, was with us for a while. He is at Hull KR as well. And Willie Peters is the coach. And I know a lot of Cowboys fans were jumping on St. Helens because of Kyle Felt and all that. But Hull KR have had players like Lachlan Coote, Kane Lynette. Now they've got Peter Hiku, Kalepi Tanganoa. So basically, if you don't have a Super League team, the Cowboys are encouraging you to go support Hull KR.
I'll make him my second team.
Making me second team.
It's always my favourite Cowboy when they go to Super League. That's my Super League team. But I don't have a strong alliance. You know, there's no grassroots or anything for me. It's basically when I used to watch it, like sort of before a lot of Cowboys were over there, it was to follow any of the Aussies, you know, that I liked, that I missed, you know, that aren't playing anymore. So, you know, I love Kyle Felt, so obviously he's going to be my number one. Be nice for him to come over to Hull KR, and then we could see him in Vegas.
That'd be good, wouldn't it?
So if you're watching, Kyle, jump ship.
Jump ship.
Or come home. One of the two.
Come on. Oh God. But yeah, no, basically it's a really good partnership, and like you said, we might give them some of our players, that they might give us some of their players, and vice versa. And just it's a bit of a relationship, which I think is a good thing. So
I'm actually amazed that this kind of partnership hasn't began a long, long time ago.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised that it took this long.
It was always sort of, you know, one of my dreams that like every NRL team would have a Super League partner.
Yeah. Well, I think you'll see more clubs do it. Like, I can see the South Sydney Rabbitohs doing something with Warrington because Sam Burgess is the head coach of Warrington. So that makes a lot of sense, you know. Russell Crowe at the Rabbitohs, Sam Burgess at Warrington. That's a partnership that I can see happening anytime from now, to be honest.
And Wolves love rabbits.
Well, yes. You're not wrong there. Makes a lot of sense. Oh, God. Righto. But, yeah, no, it should be good. I'm excited for it. So, hopefully we can get some of their players and vice versa. Now, on to some news. Yeah, you probably would have heard about this yesterday, Callan. The Cowboys are reportedly chasing Solan Cobo before the June 30 deadline. It was reported that we were attempting to get Cobo to the club. And the Broncos have already come out and rejected it, which I don't really understand why they would reject it. If you're not going to play him, you're going to leave him in Queensland Cup all year, you might as well let him go. He's a former Origin player. It's pretty insane to me, but what's your take on this? Solan Cobo potentially coming to the Cowboys, if not before June 30 next year, maybe.
Yeah, depending on what Cobo turns up.
Yeah,
that's my worry. Because we were talking about it at work, and one of the blokes goes, "Oh, Drinky's not playing that well. Put him at fullback." And I said,
"Oh,
a guy that's not even playing fullback, why would I drop Drinky to put Cobo there? That doesn't make any sense at all."
That's crazy to me. Drinkwater's having a good season. I know he's had a couple of games here and there where he hasn't been amazing, but that's it. That's every player in the NRL.
I think if we get the best Cobo, I'd have him probably in the centre or on the wing.
I'd have him on the wing. It's a tough one because then what about Robert Derby? Who misses out? Do you play him at centre, but then you're potentially giving up Vialia or Purdue or Labart, but Purdue might be in the halves next year, so there might be a centre spot open for him. Look, I don't know. I want him.
To be honest, I like him, I want him, but I'm like, if we can get the best out of what we got, that's what I'd rather focus on.
Yeah.
Is, these blokes, they're all young. If we can get because it's that risk paying, decent money to Cobo, where we let Valentine Holmes and Kyle Felt go to bring in someone who's can't even make the 17.
Yeah.
I know, like you said, he is a good player. We've all seen the brilliance of him, but I just think that mindset of that bloke, he's a bit lazy, because there's no way in the world Dearden should have ran him down. When was it, last year or whenever it was?
Yeah, last year, yeah.
And to me, that's just the difference between those two players: the desperation of Dearden, and obviously the lack of desperation for Cobo to get over the line.
Yeah. I think in a perfect world, if you were planning for next year, you'd have Drinkwater at fullback. On the wings, you'd go Derby, Talangi. Centres, you'd go Cobo on the left. And then at right centre, you'd have obviously it'd be between Labart and Vialia, whichever you want to choose. And then you go Dearden and Purdue in the halves. That's what I can see next year. So I understand why we would go for Cobo. I think he would be a great addition to the club. But then you're potentially giving up a Braden Burns, a Jackson Paulo, even like a Zach Labart or a Vialia or Rob Derby. One of them is probably leaving if you get the Cobo. It's just a matter of, would you give up Robert Derby for Selwyn Cobo? That's a tough question for a lot of people to answer. That's a big one.
I feel like that the brilliance, like, we haven't seen it yet. What Derby's going to produce. I just think there's something special in that kid.
Yeah, there is. 100% there is. I'm with you. But if this Cobo thing does happen, say we do sign him over the weekend before June 30, or if we buy him for next year, are you happy for the signing or are you against the signing?
It's a bit like the Bateman decision. I wasn't that overly excited about him coming, but you and I spoke about it. As soon as he was signed, I was on board. I just focus on everything that this guy can potentially bring to the team. So I'm a little bit 50-50 on it, or maybe 49. I don't want him. No, 51. I don't want him. 49. I do. So I'm a bit split. Like he could be a great addition to our side. Like you said, if he got some of his Origin playing, he's got some mad skills. So having that back three like that, that's it's almost to me, Drinky should, if he's consistent, he should be in the conversation for Origin as well. And you've got two wingers who are Origin, international players. Like it definitely would be a good addition.
Exactly right. Exactly right. For me, if we were to get Cobo, I'd be very happy about it. So I think it'd be a great buy. You get him rock hard fit. You get him playing with Murray Talangi on the left-hand side next season. It'd be a great thing, I think. Or you play him on the right side, whatever you want to do. But I think it'd be a great buy if we were able to pick him up. All right, moving on. Now, unfortunately, when you lose a couple of games, the media like to bring up old news from a month ago, maybe even 2 months ago. And the pressure has started again on Payton. I know we've lost, 3 in a row, and all of them have been bad games. All of them have been floggings. Do you think the pressure on Payton is fair or unfair, Cullen?
I think it's definitely fair. From where we were going, like I don't have a crystal ball, so can't say for certain if he kept the team pretty much as best he could with injuries and Origin, and that same team lost the way this team's been losing. Well, then I'd be more like it's the players' fault. But a team that was going very well, it just baffles me that he made them changes and just really stuck to it. Like I don't know, he sees something that I don't see, but whatever he sees, just it ain't working yet. So I'm like I've stuck up for him until, like I said to you, I was excited for the experiment. If we go on to make the 8 or get close into the finals with him sticking back with Clifford, do we say he's a mastermind for making those changes and then going back to the original? Because to me, it's like blind Freddie could have seen it on the street. So it just really, I don't know. Like to me, it's like it's personal. It's not about who's the best player. So when a coach starts becoming personal about who he picks, to me, it's over, mate.
Yeah, I mean, pressure. Okay, some of the decisions that he's made, I think some of the pressure's fair, but I think overall, I think he's the right guy for the job. I don't think he should be under pressure to lose his job. I think coaching decisions, like obviously with the halves situation, that's fair enough. I guess he'll get bagged for it, but as in terms of whether he should be the coach going forward, I think he should be, personally. But
so where do we finish for you to believe any different? Like let's say the next 5 years, if he's kept on, and like how low can he finish outside the 8? Let's say like the next 5 years he doesn't make the 8. Do you change your mind or?
if we don't make the 8 this year, then it could be in trouble.
No,
Could
I'm
be.
saying your personal opinion.
My personal opinion, well, he has to make the 8. That's one. But if he does, if we come like 12th or 11th, he's probably gone. He probably is. I would say he's gone. I mean, look, if we don't make the 8, there's definitely a case for him to get sacked. But problem is, you get rid of him, it's going to be a new coach, it's going to be a new this, new that. It's hard for a coach to come in for one preseason and for us to be automatic top 4, top 8. It's not easy to do. Like we saw that with a few other teams. Like have a look at Parramatta this year. A lot of people thought Parramatta would be in the 8. They're coming, second last, third last. They're struggling bad. And they're going to be coached.
But they've been struggling for how long?
Well, they missed. Obviously, last year was bad because they sacked the coach midway through the year. But the year before that, they missed the 8 just. And they were in a grand final the year before that. So it's like, if you sack Payton, you bring in a new rookie coach or you go for an experienced coach. If they don't have an impact straight away, it's going to be another rebuild for another 12, 18 months. And then players will start to get frustrated by that and everyone will want to go. I think we're very close to a premiership side. I think we have a window where I think we're not far away.
Which team? Because he I don't get the feeling that he's content. I don't know what team he wants on there.
Well, if we're talking this year, then it's got to be Dearden and Clifford and Drinkwater Robson as that spine. Next year, it looks like it's going to be different with Dearden and Purdue.
But do you think that's what Payton's vision is? Because it don't seem that way. What Dearden and Clifford, so what, he's just woke up and went, you know what, the last 5 weeks I've made a mistake.
Could be. Or maybe the pressure's gotten to him and maybe the assistant coaches have said, look, we've got to go back to what we were doing before this experiment because it's just not working. And I think the vision next year is Dearden and Purdue. I think that's next year's vision.
Well, that to me, that makes no sense. Like if we go deep into the Clifford and Dearden, Purdue at centre, we go deep into the finals. Wouldn't that say to you, this is the combination?
It would, but by what it looks like Clifford's going to be moved on. It looks that way. There's been a few Super League clubs that are interested in Jay Clifford.
But you get what I'm saying? You've got a vision of what's going to work, and then this team does really good, and you want to make changes to it.
I know a lot of people will blow up if Clifford gets released, and I know you're probably going to be furious about it, but it just looks like that the vision next season is Drinky, Purdue, Dearden, and whoever the hooker is, I've got no idea. Reed Money maybe, got no idea. But I'm with you. The combination is going, it's a great combination, Dearden and Clifford. And I know what you're saying, if they make it to the finals and we go into week 2 or week 3 again, you'd be mad to change it for next year. But that's just what it looks like to me.
Because, it's and that's what my biggest grudge with him is. He has his visions, and whether they work or they don't, he doesn't seem to want to change it. Now, to me, that is not a good coach.
Fair enough. I think long term, and again, it's hard to predict these things, but I think Dearden and Purdue in a year or two can get us to a grand final. I really do. In a year or two. Not right now. Maybe in a year or two. But right now, obviously no way at the moment. But I think long term, that combination can get us to a grand final. But I just think right now you got to go Deed and Clifford, and whatever happens next year is what happens. But Todd's got some big calls to make. Like contract wise, he's got some huge calls to make. Massive calls. Do you think he gets sacked if we don't play finals this year?
Well, like I keep saying, for the way that he's picked this side, the quality blokes, they're either not getting enough minutes, in my opinion, they're not getting picked. You know, like someone on the Stampede page said, you know, it's not Payton's fault, it's the 17 guys. And I said, well, he picked them. You know, like it's surely you've got to, like, if you hire someone and they don't work out, are you going to put your hand up and go, that's on me, mate, I picked him, I'm sorry, I made the bad decision, he wasn't a good employee?
Well, you're right.
Or you just keep going, oh, no, he'll come good, he'll come good, he'll come good. I can see potential in this fella. You know, meanwhile, your business is going broke and all your stakeholders are going, what the fuck are you doing, brother? This guy is fucking useless. Because to me, I'm going to reward, and like I keep saying, I was very excited, very supportive. I was disappointed for Clifford, but I was very supportive of Purdue having a crack there. When it doesn't work, you've got to go, okay, we give it a go. Instead of having a vision for next year, why don't you just go 1 week at a time, the old cliche, a week at a time, and watch what evolves.
Yeah. I will say, I think Todd made a mistake at the start of the year. I think he was in about 3 minds on what to do. He started with Duffy for 2 games. Then he went back to Clifford. And then he went from Clifford to Purdue. And now he's gone back to Clifford. So this is our, third halves combination. And we're going back to the one that was working. So, yeah, I think he's changed his mind a few times this year with the halves.
And I've got no problem with that. Like, you know, life is about experimenting.
Yeah.
You're never going to know if something's going to work if you don't try it. But when it doesn't work, well, then it's time to go back to what was working or change something else. You know, Billy Slater was carrying on about it, but to me, we were very lucky to win that game. Like he said, and you know, I've known this saying for a very long time. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting a different result. You know, and Billy Slater pretty well picked like Dearden was probably the biggest change. But to me, he didn't make enough changes because, you know, we probably shouldn't have, Queensland shouldn't have won that game.
No.
To be fair. You know, Zach Lomax has only got to kick 2 goals and it's all over.
That's right. That's right. But look, I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens. You know, if we don't make the 8, then I'd probably say he's going to get sacked. But it's hard to really know for sure which way the club will go. Like, if we don't make it, then it'll be interesting to see how it all unfolds. That's for sure. But, all right. Let's get to the round 17 tips, and then we'll do the Titans-Cowboys prediction for Sunday. And then there's a couple of fan questions, actually, which is pretty good. All right. Round 17. So we start with tomorrow night. Panthers and the Bulldogs, Cullen, from Combank.
Bulldogs.
Yeah, I'm with you. Bulldogs for me. Manly versus Tigers, Friday night, 6 o'clock at Brookvale Oval.
Yeah, Manly.
I'm going to go Manly, but I'm not even confident with that. Not confident. Knights and the Raiders, 8 o'clock Friday night from Newcastle.
Go the Raiders.
Yeah, Raiders for me. They'll win well. Broncos versus Warriors, Saturday, 3 o'clock from Suncorp Stadium.
I'll go Broncos.
Yeah, I'll go Broncos in that one as well. Dragons and the Eels from 5:30 at Wollongong.
Go the Dragons.
I'll go the Eels in that one. Dolphins versus Rabbitohs at Suncorp Stadium, Saturday night.
I want to go the Dolphins.
I'll go the Rabbitohs, but honestly, that's a flip of the coin, that game. Melbourne versus Cronulla, Sunday at 2 o'clock in Melbourne.
Go Melbourne.
Yeah, I'll go Melbourne in that one. And then finally, the big one on Sunday, the Titans versus the Cowboys. I am pretty keen for this. What's your predictions for Sunday, Callan?
I am going to go that we're going to flog them. I think it's the first time I've predicted. I think it's going to be like 36-18.
Okay. I like it. I'm kind of with you, but I'm going to go like a high-scoring game, all right? It probably will be. I'm going to go Cowboys 42-22. High-scoring game. The Cowboys by 20. What about the first try scorer? Who do you like for first try scorer?
I'll go Reuben Cotter.
Ooh, a roughie. Well, I'm going to go Sam McIntyre. He used to play for the Titans, actually. So I'm going to go Sam McIntyre, first try scorer. I'm going to go with that. Cowboys to win.
It'd be good to see both of them score.
It would be nice. And for an anytime try scorer, I'm just going to go Reece Robson to score.
Yeah, I was actually like thinking him. I'm just thinking of someone that you wouldn't expect. But I'm going to go Derby for a double.
Derby for a double. I do like that. All right. And before we go, we've got a couple of fan questions. I think there's a few this week. Obviously, we can't get to them all, but I'll try to get a couple of them here. All right. Let me just get this up here. All right, here we go. Here we go. Shit, there are a few questions. Right. Jason Reeder. Is Roosters and Cowboys a rivalry? I'm going to say no.
I reckon they are.
Really?
Yeah.
I know we played them in like three finals games. I'm going to say nah.
And to me, what I sort of base a rivalry on, like my mates are Roosters supporters, so
yeah,
ever since they play each other, like it's a massive rivalry for us. But I just think why I think it's a rivalry is because of we've had some really close games over the years, and then we've beaten them, they've beaten us. It's to me because being whether me mate be in another town or whether watching, I'm dirty if he wins,
Yeah. Oh. Cooper. Shout out to Cooper. Cooper Kirk. If Todd Payton got sacked tomorrow, what would his time at the Cowboys been a success or not? Ooh. I think he's done all right. I mean, we made one prelim, which should have been a grand final if we weren't ripped off. Made the semis last year. Missed it by one game another year, and then obviously the first year he came in, it was bad. I think he's done pretty well in his 4-year period, but I think this year's make or break for him if you make the finals or not. But I think he's done all right.
Yeah, with the players we've got, I really think we should have done better. So I'm not going to say no.
Yeah.
I'm not overly confident that it's a yes, but we've been in the fight. So I know I sound really negative towards him, but we've been in the fight. Every year we've been in the fight. So I'll say yes.
All right, 2 more to answer, and we'll get going. Romy259, and then I should go back to the right side to give us both sides of attack. Look, I'm definitely open to that, but I just think Nanai we did on the left has been a combination that's been working well lately, and I'm really enjoying that, and I think it's good, so I'd leave that alone, but I completely understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same as you, Nick, but the only being that we haven't been that successful, I'd be open for anything.
Yeah, fair.
Like
Fair
keeping
enough.
the same squad, but going, okay, let's try something different.
Yeah. Last question. AJ_the_tank_engines. What do we do if we still suck with Clifford in the halves? It might be our defensive structure.
Well, do you sack him after one game?
Probably not.
It's but I bet you a lot of them out there will be saying, if we play badly on this weekend,
yeah,
a lot of people will be saying, again, I feel like I'm his attorney. I'm defending him all the time. If Dearden stayed in the team for the rest of the year and we have more losses, let the guy go. I'm wrong. Let him go. But Nick's on the money 100%. The defensive structures, there's obviously something going wrong there. But I'd like to see this team, close to this team, what we're playing. I'd like to see this team play for the rest of the year. Obviously Villiers coming back and, Tamalalo, guys like that. But, I'd like to see Lars hopefully a good handful of games under his belt this year. Enjoying watching Hess start. We got the team. I believe in this team. I do. I really do. So if we get 50 put on us every week, and you can all email me and go, you suck. And I'll say, yes, I do.
Email me. Oh, that's great. All right. Leather fan questions done. All right, guys, we're going to get on out of here. As always, Cullen, it's been a pleasure, and it's been a good show. Appreciate you coming on, as always.
Yeah, thanks, guys, for watching.
Yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. We appreciate it. Obviously, on Sunday, I'll be at the Gold Coast for Titans and Cowboys. So Should be a lot of fun up there on the Goldie. Hopefully we can get a win. And Callan gets a week off to sit back on his lounge and watch the game. Hopefully not stressing too much. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. If you're going to the game on Sunday and you do see me, come over and say hello. But thanks for watching. Bring on the Titans on Sunday. And see you in the next one. Go the Cowboys.